Your Honor, she is a drifting embarrassment with no stable work, no permanent address, and no credibility. She manipulated a dying man into surrendering his most valuable property. My uncle's barrister delivered those words with polished contempt. Martin Hale sat beside him, chin lifted, wearing the satisfied smile he reserved for moments when money made him feel untouchable. The gallery was packed with relatives he had invited to witness my destruction. I kept my hands folded and said nothing. My solicitor, Naomi Grant, rose and carried a narrow black envelope toward the clerk. Dark wax sealed the flap. "For the judge's private review," she said. Judge Mercer opened it, unfolded one sheet, and read. His expression changed almost instantly. The boredom vanished. His shoulders stiffened. Then he stood, faced me, and gave a precise military salute. "Ms. Evelyn Cross," he said, "this court recognizes your service." Martin's smile disappeared. 3 months earlier, we had gathered in a bright solicitor's office for my grandfather's will. Martin arrived in a tailored suit, already discussing which shares he would sell and which cars he planned to buy. No one challenged him. He had spent years acting like the family's natural ruler. The solicitor assigned Martin the cash accounts, investments, and company holdings. He relaxed further with every clause. Then came the final provision. Grandfather's 18th century estate, including the house, woodland, and protected farmland, had been left entirely to me. Martin slammed both palms onto the table. "That is impossible," he shouted. "She has nothing. She lives in a tiny flat and hides behind some meaningless government desk." He pointed at me as though I had stolen the building while everyone watched. I remained quiet because explaining myself was not an option. My family believed I processed forms in a dull office somewhere in London. In reality, I worked inside a secure intelligence facility as a senior threat analyst. My employment, assignments, and commendations were protected by secrecy laws. Even my closest relatives were not entitled to details. Martin treated silence as weakness. He filed a claim accusing me of coercion, fraud, and undue influence. His barrister demanded my employment history, bank records, medical files, and proof that I had maintained a responsible adult life. Martin expected me either to expose classified information or surrender the estate. Naomi had previously served in government legal affairs. She understood the procedure. We requested an official sealed statement confirming my position, conduct, and service record, without revealing operational material. Approval traveled through departments I could not name. Eventually, the document arrived under armed courier protocols and was lodged for judicial inspection. While we waited, I remembered why grandfather had trusted me. At family dinners, Martin praised promotions, salaries, and expensive purchases. Then he turned toward me with theatrical sympathy. "At least simple work is honest," he once said, prompting laughter around the table. One Thanksgiving I mentioned receiving a major commendation. "Employee of the month?" Martin asked. "Did they give you a supermarket voucher?" Everyone laughed. I stopped offering them pieces of my life after that. The truth was less amusing. Months earlier, I had identified a hidden communications pattern buried beneath false traffic. The signal revealed an imminent attack against a British diplomatic convoy traveling through a conflict zone. My warning triggered an emergency route change and a joint military response. Dozens survived. Among the protected personnel was Judge Mercer's son, then serving as an Army medical officer. The sealed letter confirmed that fact without exposing the operation. Back in court, Judge Mercer lowered the page and looked directly at Martin's barrister. "You described this woman as unstable, dishonest, and useless," he said. "The authorized record before me establishes the opposite." He dismissed the case with prejudice, ordered Martin to pay my legal costs, and referred the conduct of both claimant and counsel for review. He also imposed sanctions for abusing disclosure requests in an attempt to force protected information into public proceedings. Martin rose halfway from his chair. "She still tricked father," he protested. Judge Mercer struck the bench with his gavel. "Your father was a decorated military officer. He knew exactly who she was." That sentence broke something in Martin. Our relatives slipped from the gallery without meeting my eyes. Martin stood surrounded by papers, suddenly smaller than the man who had entered. I restored grandfather's estate instead of selling it. The old roof was repaired, the orchard replanted, and several unused rooms converted into accommodation for injured veterans and their families. A year later, I sat on the porch beneath the cedar beams grandfather had sanded himself. I had recently been promoted to section chief. My phone buzzed. Martin's business was collapsing. His message asked for money, then forgiveness, though the request for money came first. I read it once and archived it. I felt no triumph, only peace. Grandfather had never mistaken noise for strength. He left me the estate because he understood the life I could not explain. In the end, the truth did not need shouting. It only needed the right moment to be opened without ever betraying my oath.